Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Just want to let you guys know that we'll start here in about 3 or 4 minutes to let some other people hop on. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. For all the new people who have hopped on, we're going to start in about 2 to 3 minutes to let some others hop on. We're just going to give it about 1 more minute and then we'll start. All right. Thanks for everybody who decided to join today on your lunch break. We are very grateful that you took the time. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Dave to start the webinar.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the CEI and Sitecore OrderCloud webinar. As we walk through this today, I respectfully ask that we hold questions till the end. If you'd like to submit questions via the chat bar, we'll curate them and address them during our Q&A session at the conclusion of the presentation. All right, so by way of formal introduction, my name is Dave Schwalk, and I'm CEI's Senior Director of Digital Marketing and Customer Engagement. For the past 20 plus years, I've been supporting Fortune 500 and larger organizations in their efforts to design and implement their digital ecosystems. This typically includes content management systems, customer relationships management, adaptive marketing, and analytics solutions. And today I have with me Wael Awada and Balaji Kandasamy, both recognized experts and MVPs within the Sitecore community. Wael, would you like to give a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, thank you, David. Hi, everyone. This is Wael Awada. I work for Sitecore, where I'm a senior commerce account executive. So I'm in charge of taking care of our commerce accounts and commerce projects here at Sitecore, and we often partner with excellent partners like CEI and put together these sorts of events to kind of educate the market on what's going on within commerce.
Thank you, Wael. Bala, would you like to provide a summary of yourself, your experiences?
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for taking time and joining us today to explore our e-commerce implementation. I'm Bala. I'm a technology MVP with Sitecore for the last 3 years. And I've been also a practice director for Sitecore technology side. I work along with Dave here at CEA. I've been with CEA for the last 7 years and have overall like 15 plus years of experience. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So overall, if you're attending today, I think the last thing that we have to tell you about is the difficulties that exist when you're trying to reach your audience, especially where, when, and how they prefer to be engaged. I think the good news is that methods to achieve this goal are emerging every day, and one of the newest is the headless architectural model. Our presentation today is geared to provide you with a deeper understanding of how OrderCloud can be implemented to deliver such a model and provide an example of what such a model can enable for you. But first, we have a few industry statistics to share. Currently, it's anticipated that 57% of global organizations are projected to have adopted a headless architecture by the end of this year. Adding to that, 60% of major retailers in North America indicate plans to adopt a headless platform by the end of 2025. Why is this becoming such a prevalent trend? Well, it's primarily because 69% of consumers prefer to be engaged in a personalized fashion. And systems that implement a headless platform have a 23% decrease in website bounce rates, while also a 20% decrease in load times. Ultimately, this leads to a 35% average increase in customer conversions, a 33% increase in mobile engagements, and an average 24% increase in revenue, allowing organizations to achieve their goals on all fronts: satisfaction, performance, and growth. All right, at this point, I'll turn over our discussion to Wael, and we can get into the meat of what you came here to learn about today.
Thanks, David. Yeah, so for the next 10 minutes, I'll just be providing a brief introduction on Sitecore's approach to commerce. And when we talk about commerce at Sitecore, we're mainly talking about two products. They're called Sitecore OrderCloud and Sitecore Discover. So you might hear those terms, just so you know, those are our commerce offerings. And Sitecore, as you might know, is a digital experience company, so we offer different products, but today we're focused on commerce. So our approach on commerce is a purely headless commerce approach. And today I'll explain a little bit what that means and how that differs from other approaches in commerce you might have seen. But primarily, the main thing to keep in mind when it comes to headless commerce is that it really is all about flexibility and design freedom. And we're going to explain those concepts today and what they mean for a customer. Next slide, please. So when Sitecore was putting together our commerce strategy, and Sitecore has been in commerce for well over 6-7 years now, and most recently the past 2.5 to 3 years, we redefined our commerce strategy to be fully headless. And why did we do that? Well, we listened to our customers, and our customers talked to us a lot about their challenges. And today we can categorize those challenges into four main categories. So challenges are in the areas of scalability, legacy systems. We work with some large organizations, and scale is very important. And scale also means performance when there are certain events where retailers that we work with have very high volumes of ordering, or when distributors we work with have very large product catalogs that need to be updated for pricing details and inventory details in real time all the time. And if you don't have the right system that is architected in a modern way, that is headless, then you're really going to struggle scaling out your solution. And of course, looking into the future, every one of our customers is living in a very competitive market, and there's a lot of competition, and most often customers will buy products from wherever the buying experience is easiest and meets their needs, which means that our customers need to adapt to changes in the market. Products that come with a very strong opinion on how your customers shop with you and don't allow you that kind of design freedom and customization aren't going to be future-proof. And when your market changes and the needs of your customers change, you need to be able to meet them there and change your solution to fit their needs. And that's what we provide, and that's what we're trying to build our strategy around here at Sitecore now. And finally, the idea of agility. Gone are the days when you need to spend a year customizing a commerce solution. And today we're really adopting the strategy of being able to quickly adapt to changes in the market and being able to quickly implement a commerce solution and the changes, implementing those changes that you need very, very quickly. Next slide, please. So this slide is really just explaining a little bit about the different solutions that exist in the market, where they stand when it comes to their type of solution and the maturity, and where Sitecore compares to that, just to provide that understanding. So, very quickly, kind of a history lesson. Traditionally, commerce solutions were quite rigid in the sense that you were purchasing a solution or an application even that came with a very strong opinion on how your business might do commerce and how your customers might purchase from you. And that's how commerce has been for a very long time. Typically, a organization would shop on the market for a pre-built solution that fits their needs the most. Typically, that's something like 60 or 70% of the way for their needs. And then after that, they would hire someone like an implementer to customize that solution. Typically, that's a very expensive and arduous process. We've kind of flipped that process on its head. So if we go all the way to the right-hand side here, drawing, you'll see that there are no big boxes. It's a collection of different gears that are essentially representing different areas of functionality. So instead of having a big box that you then have to break open, customize, and change to fit your business's needs, we're actually starting from the level of small microservices. And then you're building up your solution using those different areas of functionality, just like you would, if you think of an analogy around Lego blocks. So just like how you use Lego blocks to build a custom structure, that's really how we approach commerce here at Sitecore. And that's why you're able to essentially build very customized solutions very quickly that will meet the needs of your customers, regardless of what type of organization that they are. Next slide, please. So, reaching the end of our introduction here, but essentially when we think about commerce at Sitecore, we're thinking about two areas of functionality. One is running the operational side of commerce. Of course, depending on the type of organization that you are, things can be more or less complex than what you're seeing here. However, the operational side of commerce, we think about any sort of integration to backend systems like an ERP, any services that are running taxation, inventory, shipping, logistics, and accounting. And OrderCloud is going to really be that sort of orchestration data layer that's going to allow all your different systems to communicate with one another, to orchestrate all that complexity and connect your product catalog to all those different systems. And then from the experience side, as in how will your customers interact with your products, how will they purchase from you, and how will you monetize your channels, your content, and your products, Sitecore Discover is really going to take care of that. So anything around personalization, your audiences, your product data, your customer data, how will you use that to leverage a seamlessly personalized and streamlined ordering experience for your different customers. Sitecore Discover is going to take care of that from the experience side, working alongside Sitecore OrderCloud. Next slide, please. And finally here, we talked about flexibility today, and we're going to continue to talk about flexibility, but just wanted to give you an idea around the kinds of use cases that Sitecore OrderCloud handles. We really are focused on handling really a variety of use cases. So whether you're a B2C organization, a B2B organization, or if you're a organization looking to start a marketplace where you're bringing third-party suppliers to come and upload their products on your marketplace and connect them to an aggregated network of buyers, we're able to handle all those different use cases. So each one of those these different boxes, you're seeing a different kind of business model, and each one of those business models comes with its own complexity. So for example, when we talk about business to consumer use cases, we're talking about a very personalized shopping experience where it's heavy with promotions, product recommendations, cross-sell and upsell opportunities like you'd see from some of the best retailers. And when we talk about business to business experiences, we're talking about complexity when it comes to the distribution, complexity when it comes to personalized product catalogs, and then of course contracts with your business to business buyers where there's very specific pricing and fulfillment rules. And finally, when we talk about marketplace, we're talking about a very complex scenario where you're bringing in products from third-party suppliers and needing to communicate with those third-party suppliers on things like shipping and logistics, different promotions that they offer, different pricing points that they offer their products at, and different sorts of things like that. And OrderCloud is one of the few commerce platforms on the market today that's been certified by analysts to provide solutions for all those different spaces. So that's my introduction for OrderCloud. Hope that helped set the stage for what David and the rest of the team is about to present. Like we said, I'll be happy to answer any questions towards the end of this presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Al. So as we begin to dive into leveraging OrderCloud in practice, we're going to be discussing how we architected and deployed a solution to work with one of our premier clients, American Petroleum Institute. So the American Petroleum Institute is a 100-year-old plus organization that supports over 600 corporate members and has been instrumental in developing industry standards that are applied to all segments, upstream, midstream, and downstream production. So everything from oil and petroleum discovery to manufacturing and refinement. Some of the challenges they are facing were unique to them because of the fact that this was an entirely new pursuit for API. Previous to engaging this project and looking to implement their own e-commerce platform, they had been selling and distributing all of their standards through only retailer partners. So they faced a couple of unique challenges in the fact that not only did they have to create a sales platform that integrated with their existing legacy technologies, they had to make sure that they were providing a user experience that was on par with a number of different vendor partners that their customer base was already used to engaging with, right? So we had to make sure that things such as 24/7 global access was availability. It was a easy to use experience interface that aligned with some of the expectations and some of the functionality that was already being provided by their retail partners. We wanted to make sure that in addition to distributing their standards, we could easily align the promotion of those standards with some of the other services they offered, specifically related to training, certification, and licensing. And then on top of all this, we wanted to make sure that API was entering the market in a way that positioned them favorably and made sure that, as users started to transition from these retail partners to API as a primary source for their standards, they were experiencing and getting an experience that was overall favorable and provided them with at least what was previously there, if not more. So as a result of this, it was very critical to implement a solution that could provide all of these capabilities and be done or be implemented in a fairly quick fashion. So in order to engage this, CEI deployed a managed services team that took full responsibility for the design and development efforts. Starting with a BA and UX analyst, we came in and conducted a full discovery period. And once the general requirements and preferences were understood, we enhanced that team with architects and developers who were able to assess the solution options, design the architecture, and ultimately develop proof of concepts or POCs as required. Throughout this process, we had support from quality assurance analysts who were engaged to not only develop and create test plans, but to assess where we could best apply testing automation and make sure that we could maximize the performance of the testing capabilities and ultimately support a DevOps model that enabled continuous implementation and continuous development activities. And then finally, working with all these team members, a dedicated project manager was provided to run the agile ceremonies and coordinate team delivery while also providing regular status reports and backlog reviews to the API stakeholders and leadership teams, thus giving API the ability to change direction or prioritize functionality at any point throughout the project. At this point, I'd like to turn over, reintroduce Bala and turn over control to Bala so he can walk us through the solution that was architected and deployed.
Thank you, Dave. So we will start looking into the composable stack and the architecture of this application. Hope you're able to see my screen, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So the architecture for this application is there are like two parts mainly for this application. One is the buyer and seller management. The other part is going to be the cloud commerce management, where we maintain the catalog for all the standards that are being sold. From the integration side, there are like a lot of pre-built integrations that are packed with the OrderCloud application. So something like tax management, payment, shipping, a lot of things are out of the box supported by OrderCloud. We just have to, plug the systems what we would like to. So the second part of it is the product and catalog and the orders integration. So that is also part of OrderCloud. They have a very well managed catalog system that we could customize for our needs. And then it is also integrated with the orders integration. So whenever an item is being added to the cart or the order is being processed, that is everything handled by OrderCloud. Other than that, we did have some custom integration, something like user management. So when you're having a system, you want to register a user, you could use any third-party applications. So we were able to, one second. So we were able to use that, and certain applications like for the digital rights management or using a custom search reporting and those kind of things are all customized. So we do have options to do that as well. And end of all, like the front end, we want to use the cutting edge of having this as a headless platform. So we ended up choosing Sitecore headless and use that as our front end for this application. Moving on to the headless e-commerce platform, I want to take you through a little bit of a technical meat on how this was architected. So the end customers are typically interacting directly with the CDN or Coveo for the search aspect. Other than that, they are directly going through a firewall and then eventually connecting inside the network, where they're going to interact with the Sitecore. In this case, like I talked before, we had a customer-facing Sitecore instance, and then we also had a seller portal where internally the team was maintaining all their catalogs. So that is only restricted inside the network, and only the end users, the authors, could use that. And for the content authoring side, we would do it, and the Sitecore will be customer-facing for the website. Eventually, the Sitecore platform or the seller platform internally has to communicate through a API manager, which is going to be handling all the API requests, because this is a pure headless e-commerce platform. So all the transactions has to go through the API manager. So it's that way it is much secured. And next thing, it's going into the microservices. So this is like Val was explaining, we did have like we start with a small microservice kind of an architecture where we started building one item after the other, more like a building blocks. In this case, you can see there is a profile microservice, order management, payment management, email, shipping, and reporting. And all these are running as container instances. And everything is hosted on Azure. Everything is running as container apps. And internally for these apps, eventually has to communicate back to the OrderCloud or the other systems like Coveo. So all those SaaS platforms internally, they are communicating either to a synchronous or an asynchronous kind of a process. So certain things like payment has to be synchronous, but certain items like placing an order, sending an email can be asynchronous. So those kind of things we use Service Bus, and for synchronous transactions, they are direct. And then we did use OrderCloud's out-of-the-box webhooks for certain things. When items are being shipped out or something, it automatically triggers the webhook, which eventually triggers the emails and stuff. So moving on to the capabilities that we built with this headless e-commerce platform. The first one is product catalog management, like I mentioned. All these API, all their standards has to be listed. So we did have a seller portal where they'll be creating all the standards. And the standards were coming from the external system that also gets imported, automatically created. They set the price, manage it, and everything is done in the product catalog management. Second one is whenever it is added, we need to do the tax calculation. And we did support multiple currencies, multiple countries as well. So the tax calculation should be on the fly according to the region or the state or according to the zip code. It automatically gets calculated. We did use a couple of payment gateways according to the currencies. It automatically switches. Order and exchange management, there are options provided in the seller portal where you can check the order status, because they were supporting not just digital documents, but also supporting printing and also supporting shipping physical copies. So when it comes to those kind of things, we need to have exchange management. If the order is not properly fulfilled, we could generate and create a refund, or you can replace the order again. So we did support that using the seller portal. Another important thing is digital rights management. When we are talking here, all the standards that are being sold are all digital copies. We need to ensure that it is secured and it's not being shared between different users. So that way we do have a customized digital rights management. Whenever a copy is sold to a particular email ID, other than that person, people cannot use it, and it cannot be duplicated, or it is legally protected. We did have analytics integration, so that way we would understand what the user behavior is, how they are accessing it. Even after selling a report, after selling a standard, we could still see like all the analytics of how many users have used it or anything around that. We'll be able to read it. And also on the website, everything is tightly integrated. What is being added to the cart, what is being sold, and what is being discarded at the shipping point of time, or things like that. We did use the headless SXA in Sitecore. So it's a pure headless system, including all the OrderCloud. So it's a pure headless e-commerce platform. And we did use React and keep it much faster with faster load times. Standard library management. Whenever a new standard is being launched or a new version is being added, then we could add that automatically to the catalog. And then eventually that is also having notification. Whenever you are buying a standard, you could sign up for those notifications and you automatically get an email whenever there is a new standard version being added. Next one is email subscription notification management. Email subscription, like I talked before, like whenever a standard is getting updated, you could subscribe for those emails. The subscription doesn't only work for what you're buying. Also, if you're a non-buyer, like you just want to follow that standard, if there is any updates, although you didn't buy it, you could still subscribe for those things. And the notification is something that you can manually trigger whenever a new version is being added. So the email subscription list would get an email notification, the standard has been updated or any changes or addenda errata has been updated. The standards formatting. So in standards, there are certain standards which would have additional features. So we did have a customized catalog where you can have those things formatted, customized, and then whenever you're looking or searching for that particular standards, then the user interface changes, and then you see those additional information. The final thing is the cognitive search. To tie everything together, we used Coveo for the search here. So all the standards are being crawled, and then a person is particularly using search, then they get this predictive search and autocomplete to see all the standards that they're looking for. Eventually, that will be useful for them to add that to the cart and then eventually make the purchase. We will quickly look into a quick demo on the site, and I will take you through that. Okay, this is the site here. I have already logged in my name. You can see that. And here is my account information. So you can see this certain information are there, like my username. And,
yep. Not to interrupt real quick, we're still seeing the PowerPoint slide deck. You might have to switch views.
Oh, it says past. Okay, able to see it now. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. So let me take you back. So this is the home page of the headless site that we built. And then here you can see I've already authenticated. And you can click on the account information. When you do sign up, they give an option. If you're a member organization, then you hit special discount rates. And then if you're like a nonprofit, you have a tax exempt. And typically we have this process of uploading the certificate and have a manual check on that. And once it's confirmed, you get the tax exempt as well. You can have multiple shipping addresses with the primary and vesting. And you can see the notification that I was talking through. Although I did not purchase this, I did sign up for the Spec 5 CT updates. That's the reason I'm seeing here. I could edit this and I can unsubscribe at any point I need. So each one of those subscriptions I will show up here. And a standard footer with the Twitter feed here. Let's get back into order history. Typically when the orders are placed, you will see the history here. At the moment, I don't have any orders, so it's not showing up. This is just a test account. Let me take you through the. So we did link a link back to their main site as well. So let me take you back here. Okay. And if you notice this red bar here is like whenever there is anything new or a notification, we did give a custom option that they can highlight. In this case, you can see recently published this specification. Q1 10th edition has been published, and it gives me an option directly to purchase it. And here, the second section is all the trending standards. So most of their standards which are being mostly sold. Here in this case, you can see the spec Q1 is right here. So they have this trending standards which are being sold mostly. And then the next one is you can use this search. So in this case, I want to search for 5CT. You can see this autocomplete is available. So I can click on that, then hit search. So directly take me here, and it's all headless. So you can see it's pretty quick. And then other thing I want to highlight here is you can see this related programs. This is something like for this particular specification, there are monogram licensing. There's certain programs that you can purchase on the site, so those kind of thing, and certain things might not have it. And we did have also an option where this particular thing is available in other languages as well. So it does support multilingual for those particular standards. Whenever you see addenda errata available, it's more like a additional doc. Any changes or anything that is specific to this particular specification is available. And you can click on add to cart. So you get options here like PDF, print edition, or it's a print and PDF together. According to that, the prices are available here. So I would like to add this, and I'll say add to cart. So you can see the cart is updated already with that. If I go back, so when you go back here, you can see this, it gives an option saying like, hey, do you want to upgrade this? This gives me like 15% of additional cost, you get this. And also you can say add or remove the quantity. And then in this case, you give it gives an option to add the email of the purchaser. So in this case, if in my case, I'm buying it for myself, so that's fine. A lot of times it will be the office person buying for somebody else. So in that case, once you add here, this is the email that will be used for the digital rights management. And only that person can open it. Other machines, it will not work. So moving on to the checkout screen. So once you go here, it gives me automatically, it changes like a digital delivery. So it's taking my address and it gives me multiple options here. So certain cases you can buy with credit card, wire transfer, which are mostly like synchronous options. Wire transfers and check are more like an asynchronous option, where you would say check and then eventually use this purchase order to send your check in. Once that is validated in the backend system, automatically your order gets processed. This is the one I was talking about. Whenever you see this review order, I would like to receive notification for the standard. This is the checkbox notification that you are seeing. And here you can see this member discount is the one I was talking about. If the company is having a discount option, then you would see this. In my case, the company is not a member, so we don't get that discount. Since it's a digital order, it's giving a $0 for shipping handling, but the sales tax is automatically calculated according to my zip code, state, and country. If it is tax exempt, I can click on this and validate it. Eventually, once I click place order, we would get this order processed. And internally in the order management history, I would see the order, what state it is it pending, or is it being shipped, or whatever exact status, I'll be able to see it. Okay, that's all from the site here. I would take you back to the presentation and hand it over to Dave here. Thank you, Dave.
All right, thank you, Bala. So one might ask, ultimately, what has this solution provided to API? Next slide, Bala. And I think the key things here is, as mentioned, it was critical for us to maintain and achieve at least the same level of functionality that the other retailers were providing. So 24/7 customer member access was critical and achieved. It allowed API to publish over 800 standards in the first month of production. And it aligned the promotion of training, certification, and licensing programs with the sale of their standards. So as was evident there in the demo, when a training or certification or a licensing program that was available and associated directly with one of the standards, you were able to view the details and purchase or engage those programs directly from the shopping cart. So we were able to ultimately give a very seamless experience and an experience that rivaled the previous retailers, what the previous retailers were providing. In addition to this, we were able to expand global awareness. So as was detailed, we're delivering standards in multiple countries now, and also delivering them in multilingual formats. We were able to decrease customer service and support requests. not just on the web platform. The interesting thing here is once the web store went active, the customer service group within API saw a reduction in the number of questions that were coming through in regards to standards that had been sold by other retailers. So not only did the system itself perform very well, it's helping them mitigate some of the customer service issues that they had been working with previous to the deployment of the web store. And then ultimately, they've enhanced their global outreach, identification, and inclusivity. So in regards to their member organizations and their committees, they're now able to solicit a much larger audience for participation and contribution to those efforts. From a sales perspective, they were able to reach 70% of their daily online sales goal, and they were able to achieve, or they're on track to achieve 25%, 20 to 25% of, or transition 20 to 25% of their annual sales to the digital environment. And the key thing to mention here is that although the solution has now been active for about 8 months, these sales results were achieved within the first month after launch and initial promotion. So from a perspective of API, they were able to accelerate their growth and enter a previously untapped revenue stream, and then very quickly accelerate their success within that revenue stream, and ultimately continue to grow the capabilities, not only of the website, but the outreach that they're making available to their customers. And as a result of that, they are now in what is their third phase of implementation, and they're basically working to increase their subscription model capabilities and offer specified or specialized standards packaging to their member organizations and interested parties. So from a success standpoint, API has been very pleased with the end results, and especially in what was previously an untapped revenue stream for them. All right, I think that concludes our overall presentation. I think at this point we want to open up to any questions that the audience might have.
All right, we do have a handful of questions here. And as I'm going through these questions, if another question gets sparked from one of these, feel free to also drop another one in the questions tab. But I will get started with the first question. Is this solution hosted in the Sitecore XM Cloud, or is it in a client-managed cloud environment?
I'll be able to answer that. No, it is not hosted in XM Cloud. At the moment, it is hosted on Azure, and it's client managed.
Awesome. Thanks, Bala. The second question, how much customization was needed to integrate the various third parties providing / supporting the capabilities that were outlined?
I'll be able to take that. Most of the customizations related to the microservices and a lot of integrations are already in place, like task management, plus a lot of things.
Hey, Bala. Sorry to interrupt you, but your audio is going out a little bit.
Okay, let me be loud. Is it any better now?
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. So I was trying to say the customizations, we did have some customizations on the microservice side of things, but most of the APIs that were supported by OrderCloud facilitated it. So we are not doing something from ground up. Most of the out-of-box webhooks in this case, and order management or refund management, everything was out-of-the-box OrderCloud related functions were utilized to the full extent. Hope that clarifies it.
All right. The third question, can you provide a general idea of how much time was required to implement the solution?
I can address that, Bala. So from a discovery perspective, we implemented an initial discovery phase that consisted of 4 sprints, so approximately 2 months. And then the implementation time from initiation to launch was a 4-month window. The site actually went live at the end of January this year, and API began promoting it actively to their user group in the February-March timeframe.
Awesome, thanks. The fourth question, once the project was completed, how was knowledge transfer completed? Who is responsible for ongoing support and maintenance?
I can at least start this, Bala. You might want to add some additional details. So at this stage, as I briefly mentioned in the conversation, there is a secondary phase, or it's really actually their third phase of implementation going on to continue to expand their functionality. However, that being said, we actively worked with the API IT services team and engaged their developers throughout the implementation process. So even though CEI was primarily responsible for the code development and the solution development, the API team was involved throughout the entire process and were actively involved in code reviews, and ultimately was the team responsible for publishing the code to the production environments. So throughout the entire project, it was a very kind of hand in glove development effort, so that at the end of the project, outside of cleaning up and maybe creating some user guides and documentation to formalize what had been deployed, their IT services team had a very strong understanding of everything that was put in place and how to operate it and really own it. So at any point in our relationship, if they decide to take over kind of full management of the solution, they can do so.
Awesome, thanks. Bala, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I would say the hand and glove is the right term there. We worked as one team, so they were throughout the process. They were with us, even looking at the code or pull requests or understanding how it's being implemented. So it's not something like in the dark and they don't understand what has been done. And most of the staging environment or production environments, the client team was handling it. So there are, like Dave was mentioning, at any point of time, if they want to take care of this application, they were well equipped to take care of it. And everything was documented in the wiki documentation. So every single thing on the design decisions, why decisions were made that way. So in future, if there is a question around that, we had all those answered. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Bala. The fifth question, how do I know if my company needs a more modern commerce platform like OrderCloud, or if we are ready to take advantage of such a platform?
I can help with that question. Thanks, Mandy. So yeah, that's a really good question. And I would think, we can start by thinking about your existing system. So if you're an organization that has done commerce before, and you found that you've reached some limitations as to what your current commerce system can do, then it might be a good idea to start looking at something more modern. Typically we see organizations re-platform every 5 to 7 years. That's kind of a standard. And anytime an organization re-platforms, you really want to look at, what do I currently struggle with? And if what you struggle with are things that can be solved by a headless solution, so those things are, as my solution scaling, do I have to implement new features all the time? And when I need to implement new features, I'm finding that I need to spend a lot of money and time to implement those features. If you're finding that you're being forced to work within the confines of a solution, as opposed to that solution molding and changing to fit your business needs, then it might be a good time to start looking at something a little bit more modern. And at the same time, if you're an organization where you feel like your needs can be solved with a solution that is able to solve things in a way that's quite common. So if we're talking about shopping experiences where there's a one product catalog and there's one buyer type and things don't necessarily change in your market, then maybe you don't need a very mature or modern solution, and some of the other solutions that have been on the market for a while might be suitable for you.
Thanks, Weil. The last question, which was kind of already answered in a previous question, but how long does it usually take to go live with the Sitecore commerce solution? What's the process like?
Yeah, I guess I can help answer that as well from more of a general standpoint, since I know Bala talked about the specific project at hand here. Of course, the quick answer is that it varies, right? Of course, it varies and varies from customer to customer and use case to use case. But generally speaking, it's a big range, and it can be something like we've seen solutions go live in as soon as 4 weeks. And we've seen solutions take much longer than that. And however, with the way OrderCloud works, having a MVP, a minimum viable product, is actually something that you can achieve quite quickly. So minimum viable product in this case would be a solution that you can actually go live with and start selling your products on. Those typically take on average around 2 months. So in 2 months, you can actually usually start selling your products online. Of course, that will be kind of a phase 1 solution, so it won't be the final state solution that you'll be aiming at. That will take time. But with the way that OrderCloud works, if you look back at the slide with all those different gears and talking about microservices, you don't need to implement features that your business doesn't need. So because you're able to kind of follow that building blocks approach, that Lego approach, you can expose all the functionality of OrderCloud that you need while not consuming the functionality that you don't need. And what that'll do is allow you to basically go quickly and start quickly and use just the features that you need. And then after that, you'll continue to add on and keep your solution and treat it basically as a living, breathing solution that's changing over time. So that's why you can actually go to market quite quickly and then perfect your solution and your shopping experience over time.
Awesome, thanks. That was the last question. Bala, Dave, Wael, do you have any closing remarks for today?
Just thank you everyone for your attendance, and we look forward with to the opportunity of potentially engaging you in the future.
All right, thanks everyone. That will be the end of this webinar today. We really appreciate you guys joining.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.